As we have been reporting throughout the day, dozens have been charged in connection with illegal sports betting and rigged poker games. These are professional basketball players and coaches, and it includes a couple of guys who played for the Celtics here for a bit. Terry Rozier, accused of using insider information to bet on games, not when he was with the Celtics, but when he was with other teams. His attorneys say he didn't do it.
So joining us now is Professor Michael McCann, Director of the Sports and Entertainment Law Institute at UNH School of Law. Thank you so much for joining us.
Professor, it's great to see you. Forgive the simplicity of the question, but people must be scratching their heads because sports betting is legal in most states in the United States, but this is not, right?
That's right, Ed. And Erica, thank you for having me. So it's not legal because of the reason that Rozier is alleged to have furthered a conspiracy by basically tanking during a game. That there are these prop bets in sports where you can bet on how many rebounds a player will get in the second quarter. So say it's 4. If you're a player and you want to make sure you don't get 4 rebounds, you don't get 4 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you claim you're injured. Maybe you just go away from rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates a criminal matter because there's a conspiracy to defraud. And that is at least what the prosecutors have alleged. It's the same issue that came up last year with Jontay Porter, another NBA player who ultimately did a plea deal where he was accused of furthering a prop bet. So it is true that betting on sports is legal in about 40 states, although NBA players can't do that. That's against NBA rules, but that's not a crime. The distinction here is that it was part of what the government believes is wire fraud and conspiracy.
Okay, so, punishment from basketball aside, I think folks hear this and they say, this can't be that bad, right? But it is. What's the depth of their legal issues?
They're pretty, these are serious felonies. These are not light offenses that they're accused of. And the issue is that they engaged in financial transactions, allegedly, that furthered bets to ensure that games were fixed, at least fixed in the context of a player not doing as well as he should have done had the game been competitive. Mm-hmm. And of course, that would suggest that the player was in on it, right? That Rozier is accused of being in on a scheme, and he furthered a bet allegedly by not playing as well as he could have, or feigning an injury. That's also come up. He played in that game back in 2023. Right. Now, as you said, his lawyers said, wait a second, he didn't do it. Also, he's been investigated for years over this, and he wasn't charged. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, Professor, let's talk about the poker aspect too, because a lot of players have a lot of money and a lot of downtime, so they do a lot of they play a lot of cards as they do this. Now, there's a lot of money. This is the one that involves Chauncey Billups, and this is, rigged schemes with glasses, with video that's underneath the table and revealing cards. I mean, this also gets to the core of honesty and integrity, right?
Yeah, it does. And I think with the poker aspect of this, the alleged ties to a mafia family, to me, is a key distinction. And I've heard several people say that, well, poker, what's the big deal? I think if in fact it's furthering a criminal enterprise, that places it in a different category than an ordinary poker game. And of course, poker, the legality of poker varies in a lot of ways. Right. Some states require registration, but to me, that's a key factor. So the allegations, as you said, Ed, the games were fixed, but to me, the key is that this was allegedly part of a criminal mafia enterprise.
Professor McCann, thanks for your insight. Great to talk with you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.